What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Red Cloud Society. In this week's video, we're going to be talking about two extremely powerful ninjas, both Akatsuki members, Deidara versus Kakuzu. If you have any other ideas, or if you like this video, any criticisms, anything at all, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, your thoughts, and any ideas for future videos as well. Just let's get right into it, and I just want to start by saying that both of these guys are extremely freaking powerful, and not only that, but they both have an extremely versatile arsenal of weapons, offensive and defensive, super unique ninjutsu, and I'm really kind of interested to see where this one goes. Personally, at this moment, I really don't even know who I want to win. I'm sure some of you will be disappointed by the results, myself included, because I really have no idea where this one's going to go.
Yeah, I could see it going both ways depending on how the fight transpires. I mean, they're both strong as shit. Whenever you talk about Akatsuki members, I mean, it's going to be a fucking battle. You need to be an elite ninja to fight even one member. So, I've thought about it because we've talked about all this shit in the past. And last week I was thinking one thing. Today I'm thinking another. But I think we might actually have a slight disagreement, at least on the difficulty of the battle. So I think a good place to start is just throw out what kinds of abilities these guys have, because they're both fucking nuts in their own respective ways.
All right, yeah, I mean, so that's the thing. Both these guys, not only are they insanely fucking strong, but they're versatile. Their arsenals are so freaking versatile. I mean, if you look at other Akatsuki members, take Toby or Obito, Madara, whoever you want to fucking call him. Yeah, he's insanely strong, and I would argue that he's obviously stronger than both of these characters. But that's because of one fucking jutsu, being Kamui, that makes him completely untouchable. Whereas on the other hand, these guys have so much weird shit that they can do that makes them so hard to deal with. And I just want to another point I kind of just want to start with is I feel like a lot of people would agree with me on this statement. I genuinely believe that Kakuzu is stronger than Deidara. Just from a physical standpoint, and also because he's immortal, obviously that's a huge help. But, and I feel like a lot of people would agree with me that he is just strength-wise, he is the stronger of the two characters. But
Yeah.
holy shit, matchup-wise, Deidara is just a freaking nightmare to deal with. I mean, he's like the equivalent of a present-day fighter jet existing in a ninja world. Like, I don't know how you get at this guy, or just I don't know. What are you thinking for how this shakes out? Because honestly, I'm just trying to picture the battle in my head right now, and I can see so much different shit happening. Like, I can see anything from either character getting one-shotted to this being a long knockdown, drag out battle.
Yeah, I do. This whole week I've just been thinking about it off and on. I even rewatched a little bit of Deidara versus Sasuke, and fucking Kakuzu versus Kakashi, because fuck Ino and Choji. But yeah, the thing with Deidara and Sasori, they are probably the one team in the Akatsuki that are just a fucking problem no matter who fights them, because their abilities are so unique. Like, in our last video with Sasori, his problem was the fucking poison gas and the poison senbon and shit. Like, you just can't get touched. With Deidara, it's his fucking his C4, which I think personally is maybe the biggest problem here, just because what the fuck can you do?
Well, it goes even beyond. Yeah, it goes even beyond that. With the problem is, he can just be flying 2 miles above the fucking battlefield. Like, how do you get up there and get at him? Now, I will say that Kakuzu, with his elemental heart monsters that he can use once he separates them from his body. They are pictured like flying around and shit.
Yeah.
Pretty fast, trying to tag Kakashi and Shikamaru, like when they had that fight going on. So they can fly, and that definitely helps. But the other thing about Deidara is that he is so ungodly fast, and that is something that I feel like a lot of people don't realize. But, I mean, he was able to infiltrate the Sand Village unnoticed, and then avoid all of Gaara's sand attacks in the fucking desert where he was literally surrounded by sand. And then even when the entire village, after he beat him, cut in and was shooting all those giant exploding crossbows at him and shit, like he's just had he had a smile on his face, like he's almost untouchable. And then even when he was Edo, like even Onoki was like, damn, he's fast, when him and Kabuto came to try to capture the 8 and 9 tails. And when they were fighting in the sky later, Deidara even remarked, like, Onoki, who was now just keeping up with him, was like, oh, he's even faster than he used to be. And it's like, how are you going to catch this fucking guy?
Yeah, well, the good thing for Kakuzu is he has those long-range ninjutsu attacks. And the thing that I think helps him the most is the fact that, yeah, he's got those elemental beasts, and he has all 5 changes in chakra nature. So he can just fucking, I won't say blitz, but I mean, Kakuzu's fast himself. He was tossing paws with Kakashi, no fucking problem. And Kakashi is a fast motherfucker. Even though it wasn't War Art Kakashi, he's still quick, and he has a Sharingan. So I don't know who's faster. I would have to fucking look into it, but I don't think, even if Deidara is faster, I don't think he's so much faster that it's going to be a problem for Kakuzu, in part because Kakuzu has that Earth-style ninjutsu where he can just turn his body into fucking stone. It's supposed to make him, like, basically immune to any attacks, but I feel like I have my doubts. But definitely up to a point. Like, I don't think, even if Deidara stood back and just bombarded him with, like, C1s and maybe C2s, I think that jutsu could probably withstand those attacks.
Okay, well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the kind of the next point I wanted to get into. Was there are 2 things that could really, really help Kakuzu. One of them is intel, because he has that heart with the lightning nature. So if he knows, I don't know how he would know this, because I don't think anybody knew prior to Deidara's fight with Sasuke, where he eventually died. But if for whatever reason he had intel that lightning style could diffuse a lot of his explosives, that would be a huge help for Kakuzu, and maybe could be even the deciding factor in the battle, where if he's like, he can drop all the crazy shit he wants on me, but as long as I zap it, like, it's not gonna fucking go off, you know what I mean? So
yeah, and
that would be
I don't
a huge
think
help.
Sorry, what was that?
Go ahead, man.
So and the thing is, I don't think he has to, like, stop using that jutsu to do other jutsus, as far as I know. Like, he can just
hell no.
keep
I mean,
using that, and just fucking, his beasts are gonna keep going, and he can use ninjutsu himself.
Oh yeah, they were all flying around, like, spamming wind, fire, and lightning attacks, while he was, like, choking out Choji and fucking Ino, like, on the ground. Like, they can all operate independently, which is great. I'm just wondering if they're going to be fast enough to catch Deidara, who, like, just verbally and seeing on screen, like, scale-wise, is, like, ridiculously fast and slippery. Like, the fact, just him beating Gaara, just the evasiveness showing alone was so impressive, because it's not like he could even just run away. Like, he had to capture his target. But going back to Kakuzu, you brought it up earlier. The second thing that can really help him is his iron skin, or, whatever the formal name for it is, that iron skin technique. The only problem is it's kind of hard to scale how much punishment that can take because, one, I know in the anime he states when he's fighting Team Asuma with Kakashi's help, and he gets backed into the corner and Choji drops that human spiky boulder on him, and he just, fucking tanks it, just like gets nailed into the ground, but is totally fine. He says after he gets up, as you can see, no physical attacks will work on me. Yeah. Which, if that's the truth, I mean, you could argue that ninjutsu would be effective, which Deidara's attacks are. It's, the explosion release kekkei genkai. But, on the other hand, he did tank a fucking bijou bomb from the Two Tails point blank. So, that makes me think... I mean, that's canon, right? I can't remember if that was a filler episode or it was canon. It had to be canon.
When they captured... what's her fucking name?
Yugito.
Or what? Yeah, fucking Yugito. Yeah, because that was at the beginning of that arc, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I thought. But regardless, he's, he tanks a fucking bijou bomb point blank, and I assume he had to use that jutsu, because if he just tanked it without doing anything, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, that we don't have to have a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. But, so assuming that it does work on ninjutsu as well, I mean, that's a big problem for Deidara. So I really think Deidara is slippery enough and smart enough, especially, at least knowing somewhat about Kakuzu, given that he's an Akatsuki member, to avoid the majority of his attacks. So I think in Deidara's case, he really has 3 keys to victory. 1, just stay the fuck away from Kakuzu's real body, if possible. I mean, taijutsu-wise, and just, with all those tentacles and shit, he's going to be better off just, using his signature long-range attacks. He really, really doesn't want to hang close range with him. The second thing that I think could be really helpful is his suicide bomb clones. I think he only used it once in the series, that would have killed all of Team Guy and Team 7 if it wasn't for Kakashi, warping away the entire explosion and almost dying because of it. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't think he really used it again, but I feel like that's an extremely versatile and effective technique. I mean, and he's also shown proficiency with making clones, period, because he replaced himself with a clay clone when a cloaked Naruto was literally on top of him beating his fucking face in, and he still managed to get away somehow. So that
I don't know how he pulled that off.
Right, so that may be a good way to catch Kakuzu, depending on how things go. And then the final thing, I think you alluded to it earlier, is really just C4. Because that way he can actually get nano explosives inside his own body and kind of disintegrate him from the inside out. Because bearing in mind, if that iron skin technique can tank a fucking Jubi blast or a Bijou Dama, I really think that C1, 2, and 3, if he can take that kind of punishment point blank, he's going to be able to withstand all of those as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, C3, I'm pretty sure it's stated that he can take down, or Deidara can take down a village with C3. Mm-hmm. But I mean, so can a Bijou bomb. So, I mean,
right.
Like you just said, C4 is his best bet because, I mean, Sasuke, I wouldn't say a total ass pull, but like, I thought Sasuke was fucking dead there. Definitely had some plot armor getting out of that. But
oh yeah, for sure. And the other thing is, I feel like because he was fighting Sasuke, who again has the Sharingan, can see chakra, it kind of downplayed just how cool the jutsu was. Because to Sasuke, he could see everything happening and was like, oh, we got to avoid these and like not inhale or, get near any of these nano explosives because I can see all the chakra coming. But for somebody who doesn't have dojutsu, like Kakuzu, he would see that big fucking statue of himself just explode or disappear or whatever and be like, oh fucking K, like, nothing
Yeah.
happened, and then 5 minutes later he's literally disintegrated.
Yeah. So I think the case for Data has been made. I want to say why I think Kakuzu stands a really good chance of taking this away from Datara. And there are a few things. So I'm just going to start with Datara being, yes, Datara is very smart, but he's also a fucking dumbass. Yeah. He's too cocky, and he's not. There's no way he's going to go straight in to C4. He's going to start with 1, 2, then 3. Even if Kakuzu's tanking with the Earth style jutsu to protect himself, Datara is going to get up to that point. And Kakuzu, on the other hand, is just a no bullshit, I'm going to fucking kill you kind of guy. So between that and having the numbers with his elemental beasts, which he has lightning, which is Datara's weakness, I think Kakuzu, if he is somehow figures out, which is a possibility, that lightning style is Datara's weakness, then I really think that's bad news for Datara. But we were saying how Datara needs to stay far away and just launch those attacks from a distance. Let's not forget that Searing Migraine with the wind pressure jutsu fucking destroyed a forest pretty much. Like,
yeah,
I don't know the range on that jutsu, but it's a fucking problem. Granted, I think if he uses that, and I'm pretty sure he could just use it repeatedly, no one in the Akatsuki seems to ever get fucking tired, so he could just spam it. But what I do think is a negative in that is if they're in like a forest area, which I think is Kakuzu's best bet, I don't like it if he's in an open field or like a desert with Datara. If he blows all of the trees and shit away, then Datara just has all this room to navigate and try to get like using the hide like a mold jutsu and place landmines underground and shit. That just makes it more problematic. But between the numbers, those jutsus, lightning style, the earth style protection, and just Kakuzu, I won't say he's smarter than Datara, but he at least isn't going to dick around like Datara will. I think with all of those things taken into consideration, Kakuzu most of the time will take this fight. Now, granted, if Datara says, all right, fuck you, Kakuzu, I've had enough, and he goes straight to C4, I agree. I don't know how the fuck Kakuzu is going to get out of that, because he's not going to know what it is. Did anyone know what that attack was? Was that the first time anyone had seen it, the C4?
Yeah, he said when he used it on Sasuke, because he was just so pissed off that he was losing.
He saved it for Itachi.
Yeah, he said he was saving it for Itachi, which obviously wouldn't have fucking worked either, because Itachi is just Itachi. But, yeah, I mean, I agree with the 2 points you made. That one, Datara's personality is a hindrance. Like, even at other points in the series, like, if he could just put his pride aside and just fight smart, and even realize, there were some characters that he couldn't take down, and even run away for some fights, I mean, he probably could have made it through the whole series, but that's just not who he is as a character. So I believe his personality is a flaw, especially with Kakuzu being such a no-nonsense character. And, yeah, so I agree about that, and then I also agree that, if Kakuzu's going to win, it's going to be before Datara is forced to C4. Like, he's going to beat him before he gets to that point. Because I agree, with every fight Datara's been in, he's kind of worked his way up. And I, don't think he would have any reason not to do that in this fight, because even using C1 and stuff is a good way of feeling people out and seeing what they're capable of. So I just don't see him going into the fight like... I mean, granted, there's a slim chance. I don't want to come up with too much headcanon, but maybe because they know they're in the Akatsuki together, he's like, this guy's really fucking strong. Maybe even Sasori said, like, oh, Kakuzu's stronger than I am or whatever. So he's just like, fuck it, just farts out a C4 and is like, eat this. But I really don't see that happening. And also, if you want to make that case, you can also make the case that Kakuzu has intel on Deidara and knows that lightning style diffuses his bombs.
Yeah.
So, or even like you said, mid-fight, if he's up on the C2 dragon or whatever and is launching shit at him and Kakuzu tries to counter one with a lightning blast and sees that it diffuses the bomb, he's just like, okay, well, I'm just going to do this moving forward. So in fight, he could gain that intel the same way Sasuke did, depending on how it all shakes out. So, I mean, how do you think you want to call this one?
Since I've never seen anyone talk about these two fighting, maybe I haven't looked hard enough, and since they never actually did fight, let alone did they even talk to each other, it's hard to say. The fight, if it finishes quick, Kakuzu's coming out probably 9 to 10 out of 10 times, low to mid difficulty. The longer this fight goes on, the better the chance Deidara has, because he's working his way up, and let's just fuck C0 because that's okay. Kakuzu's dead, but so are you, so that's a draw.
I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, I really don't want to go into the C0 thing because obviously, with as big as that fucking blast is, I think they said it's a 10-kilometer blast radius and comparable in size to a freaking 10 tails bomb. Like, obviously, he's not tanking that, but also it's just a draw because Deidara dies too. So I feel like in ignoring that every outcome can be a draw if he decides to blow himself up. You said Kakuzu 9 or 10 out of 10 times. Mid difficulty.
Probably mid.
Just depending if he can catch him relatively quick.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I don't want to be like repeating myself over and over, but with the numbers, the lightning style, the searing migraine combined with the wind pressure, the earth style, and we didn't mention this. I don't know how I feel about it just because it was kind of thrown out there. He did apparently fight Hashirama, Kakuzu did, so that means something, I guess, but I kind of fucking take that with a major grain of salt. It's just really it boils down to, can Deidara keep himself safe long enough to figure out, all right, I got to go to C4. If he gets to that point, then Deidara's taking it every time C4 is launched. So I guess if you balance it out, I'm going to go Kakuzu probably takes it 6, maybe 7 times out of 10. They're both Akatsuki members. I'd say mid to high difficulty. Just because it's hard to say how long that fight's going to go on, man. I could see it being a quick fight with Kakuzu just not fucking around. I could see it going on forever with Deidara just fucking whipping his dick out, riding on the dragon, flipping off Kakuzu, and just dropping bombs everywhere.
So I'm actually going to go in an opposite direction with you on this one, as to be expected, because, I just love sucking Deidara off. I'm going to go with Deidara over Kakuzu, mid to high diff, 7 out of 10 times for these couple reasons. One, fighting Sharingan users twice really butt-fucked Deidara. I mean, being able to see chakra, figuring out the whole lightning style weakness, like Itachi just being Itachi and literally looking at anybody in 2 seconds and figuring out their weakness, he had a bad run of decks with opponents and kind of got shit on because of the Sharingan twice. But outside of that, for somebody without dojutsu, it's going to be way harder for someone to deal with him. Also, on that note, I just think Deidara is way more durable than people give him credit for because he's a long-range fighter. He kind of has that stigma, like, oh, you can just beat this guy's face in and that's that. But it's like, he got both his fucking arms ripped off, didn't give a shit at all. Fought off Team Guy with no arms and a kunai in his mouth, and it's just like, escaped from that, like captured Gaara on his home turf. Like, I just think you can call it durability or slipperiness, but I think he's better at not getting himself killed than he thinks.
Yeah.
Than a lot of people think, you know. But that being said, Kakuzu's a really tough fight. I'm saying I agree 100% that he's gonna need C4 to effectively finish off Kakuzu. But I just think he can stay along. He can stay alive long enough via flying around, substituting himself, whatever, to get to the point where he's like, this dude's really fucking strong. I got to C4 this man if I'm going to get out of here. And then once that happens, the victory is his. Also, really doesn't mean anything, but when Deidara died, even Pain was super butthurt about it. He's like, damn, like, Deidara made our jobs easy because he could just go into villages and fucking nuke them, and nobody really said anything else about any other Akatsuki members dying other than Deidara being like, I can't believe that chick and that little girl killed Sasori, and then Kisame being slightly upset by Itachi's death. But pretty much everyone else, it was like, eh. But when Deidara died, the whole group got together and was kind of like, fuck, he was really helpful.
Yeah, that's true. I just, in the same regard, I just feel like, I mean, you know how I feel about Kakuzu. I like him. I'm not a huge fan, but like, I wish he got to stick around a little longer. Fuck Hidan, don't give a shit. Kakuzu is pretty cool though.
Yeah, and also it's just something to be said that, I mean, and granted he has the, like, you know, an immortality jutsu or whatever, but it's definitely something to be said that he was what, like 90 something when he died. Just somebody living that long in Naruto period is impressive in itself.
Yeah, I mean, so I just remembered, yeah, they did interact because Kakuzu put his fucking arms back on. So I'm assuming he kept his arms during this fight. But I see what you mean. I'd say for sure I'd still go with Kakuzu. I'd take him 6 times out of 10 mid to high difficulty, just because, you know, he's got to use C4. He's got to take out all 5 hearts. It's tough, but I think Kakuzu will finish it before it gets to that point. And I'm gonna stand. That's the hill I'm gonna die on.
Right, and I'll come back and meet you in the middle a little bit. I'll go just because Kakuzu is insanely smart, durable, and has a ton of experience and just a more battle sound personality. I'll come down and say I think Deidara takes it 6 out of 10 times mid to high difficulty, just so we can be right on opposite sides. But I'm at peace with that at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, anyone would probably agree, and we've talked about it. Once you get past Obito, Pain, and Itachi, it's a fucking toss-up. Everyone in the Akatsuki is fucking nuts in their own way. So I can't fault you for saying or having that opinion on how that fight comes out. But so that's all we have for today's video. Thanks for coming back to the channel. I hope you like the versus battle we have for you today between Deidara and Kakuzu, and we will see you guys in the next video.